Hi there, it's Suzanne here from Quietfire Design, and today we're going to assemble one of the cars from the All Aboard Christmas train. Now, there are 9 cars in total. That includes the locomotive and the caboose, and I just want to show you how the basic construction goes and some little things to look out for. But first, I want to tell you how you can enlarge the project. So here we have it opened up in Silhouette Studio, and it would look pretty similar in the Cricut design space. And I've actually pulling one of these out and just moving it to the side so we can see what it looks like in its original size. Now you're going to put an elastic band around the whole design, and because up here at the top you can't tell what size it is, I'm going to move it over to the very edge of the mat. You can see the original size of the project down here at the bottom. And what we're going to do is grab the corner at the top and pull it out until that number at the bottom is 10. And that just helps you see how much bigger it is when it's butted over to the left. And now let's center it. And there it is. Now you've just enlarged the whole project, so this will be a little bit bigger. And that's okay because some of the eyes in the characters in this set are a little hard to cut out. Now I like to move everything over to the left, all the items I haven't cut yet. And once they're cut, I move them to the right of the cutting mat. So, oh, those balls are the same color. So let's ungroup them and line them up so they're closer together for cutting. And then I will run an elastic around them so they're grouped, but not really. And I'm going to move them up there. And then I'm going to go ahead and start cutting. So let's have a look at these cuties, and here they all are. And you're just going to need some adhesive, some tweezers are really helpful, and a bone folder is helpful as well. Now these two designs have flying or floating elements, the star and the snowflakes. And to make them look like they're floating, I use transparencies, just the kind that you buy at Staples or Office Depot or wherever, and they look just like that. And I just cut a bunch of them usually because I keep some handy. And I use glue dots to adhere them to their box and to the object that is floating. The other thing I wanted to tell you about is that some of these characters have really tiny eyes, and I've tried to enlarge them, but if your mat isn't really sticky and your blade isn't really sharp, then you might have some issues with it. And that's why I wanted to tell you about enlarging the whole design right at the beginning of this tutorial. So let's get started putting together this Christmas tree train car. And here's the original one that I made and is in all the photos. And this is the enlarged one that I showed you about and then cut. All the train cars basically go together the same. They're a card in a box structure, and they will fold back like this. And don't forget this one over here, that's the other side. And then you can burnish that down, all those folds down with a bone folder. Then this tab will tuck in right there, and you make the box. It's always a good idea to put everything out and then lay things on top of each other to see how things go together. Always refer back to the thumbnail photo that I provide with the design. This is the middle part of the card in a box, and you can push the flaps back or you can bring them forward. Now in this one, I'm going to push them back. And again, you can do a little burnish with the bone folder. Before we form the card in a box, we're going to add all the little embellishments on top. So let's go ahead and assemble this as you see in the thumbnail, and also as it comes to you on the mat when you first import it. Now here's a little tip when you're applying this piece. Now it actually centers right in the center, right there. And it hangs out a little bit over each side, just to make it look a little bigger. Now you can use whatever kind of glue you want to. I use glue dots. You can use a tape runner or wet glue. And this piece is just going to go on the top right here, nice and straight. Now you can write someone's name on it, or you can write Merry Christmas, whatever you like, or you can leave it off altogether. Now remember, this has to get centered. So we're going to make sure that we don't add the adhesive right to the very edge. So I'm going to add these glue dots in a bit from the edge. Then once we have the glue on, you can flip it over and have just a little check to make sure that there is no glue that comes right to the edge. And then again, line it up with that center piece right there. And make sure it's on straight, and then it makes it look like there's wheels. How cute. Now we're going to add on the ribbons on the presents. Now I've been using this lately. It has a very fine applicator, and you put a needle in the top to keep it open and flowing. And you can apply it directly to the back side of the piece, or you can put a little bit on anything really. But first let's try this. But I always find I get too much on there when I do this, and it really helps to have a pair of tweezers to put these little pieces in place. Now with the other bow, I'm going to show you the other technique, and that's basically drag the piece through the glue. And then I find I don't get as much glue on the back of the piece. And there we go. Give it a few minutes to dry, and we're good to go. Now I'm going to apply some Tombow tape runner to the tab, because I just like that because I can pull it apart if I need to. But you might want to do something more permanent than that. And just make sure everything's lined up, top, bottom, seam. And there we have the little box. Now let's work on the tree. It's going to go in there just like that. But first we want to put the decorations on it because it's easier to do now than it would be if it was in the box. I just use a glue dot on there and stick it on. Now for this particular design, putting on the decorative string is one of the hardest parts. So position it and try to remember where it was. You're going to have to tilt it a bit here and there and finesse it on. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect. You're the only person that's going to know that maybe it hangs over a little bit here, doesn't reach the edge here. Don't sweat the small stuff like I do. And to finish it off, we need to add the Christmas balls, and you can cut those in any color you want. And there we have it. Add a little tape runner to either side. Now hold those glued tabs back so they don't stick to everything. Slide the tree into the box and pull the tabs out so they align with the back of the box. The tabs were designed so that the tree would rest right in the middle of the box. And you can turn it upside down and make sure everything's aligned. And that's it. It's done. Now you just have to do 8 more. Now you can see the difference between the enlarged one that was 8.8, and then I enlarged it to 10 inches. And it makes a bit of a difference in the size of the design. And it depends on how much space you want the whole train to take up. So that's the end of this tutorial. I hope you like this little project. I think it's really sweet, and I'm setting it up under the tree. Thanks for watching, and if you like this project, make sure you subscribe to my newsletter. The link is down in the description. And subscribe to my YouTube channel, and make sure you click the all notifications so you don't miss anything. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time. Happy creating!